Well, you need a big guest for a big game, and there's no bigger than Big Anthony.
It's picked up by Archer again. He tries to crash through the pack. He does. He got through Maxwell, and he has a flying shot for goal. And then it's a magnificent Glenn Archer goal. 2 in a minute to the man who's the shin bone of the century.
All right, a big game needs a big guest, and this is the biggest guest to ever come on the Further North podcast. That's right. Charlie Comben is on number 2 on that list because Big Ant is back. now if that's not the best intro you've ever had, Big Ant, I'm not sure what is.
Oh, look, especially for the Charlie fan that you are, I respect it and I love it.
How are you feeling, Big Ant? What's been happening? Are the Eagles satisfying the cravings you've got for premiership success? How have you felt about West Coast since the bye?
It's a hard one. There is definitely some winnable games that we just didn't play the 4 quarters. Then and I know you don't agree with this, but then beat a team that is arguably chasing the 8. You know, they're frustrating, man. They're doing me in at the moment.
They are. I mean, it was a mixture of Harley Reid hype, and also the Eagles got some early wins, and all of a sudden the world was like, wow, they've finally turned. And then it sort of like plateaued a lot, and then you had a lot of losses in a row, and you got your loss or your win last week. But when was the last win? Was it the Melbourne game?
Melbourne game, round 11.
11, yeah, okay. Yeah, so it was a little bit between innings. I don't know. Are you happy or satisfied with the season so far for West Coast?
Look, we now have one more win than what we had last year. I'll take that as progress. It's slow progress, but I'll take that as progress.
Yeah.
Everything's showing improvement. It's just now trying to play the 4 quarters to get that, to show it on the field.
Now, after the last West Coast North Melbourne game, how was the vibe around the barbershop after the crushing defeat to those mighty Kangaroos, mate?
Look, I only taste a little bit of sarcasm in that, but
there is only a little bit. Most of it was serious.
I mean, okay, we can fight about this in the comments later. How in the fresh hell was that holding the ball when he couldn't even get to his feet?
Again, it's time to let it go.
How is that prior opportunity?
I'm not Razor Ray, mate. Razor Ray came out a few days before and explained to everyone the new holding the ball rules. Nobody understood it. And then on the weekend, we were even more baffled.
Razor Ray came out, and you know what? That's my favourite retirement for the season. He came out, tried to explain the new rules. Then all of a sudden the AFL comes down and goes, no, he's actually got it wrong. And then Gillen comes down and says, oh, the umpiring's never been better. Like, it's an absolute joke at the moment.
It is. I mean, look, I've actually been a supporter of, not a supporter, but I've never thought the umpiring for the last few years has been maybe as bad as the criticism suggests. Since the bye, I don't have that opinion anymore, and it's been absolutely horrendous. I don't understand what much is anymore. All I know is when the siren went, we had more points than the other team, and it took me a second to Google what that meant. But then when I found out the definition, I celebrated incredibly hard. So, look, and everyone who came into the barbershop, you go.
Just be glad that my daughter's in the room with me.
Come on, you can still throw this. She's heard them before, mate. Come on. Just give us one choice word. Everyone was respectful to you in the barbershop, though. No fans came in and tried to banter you or anything like that at all, did they?
I can't remember his name, but one did. So
we did post the photo of the in sympathy card.
I hate it so much.
It's funny.
I hate it so much.
It is good. Oh, that was some of the best high quality banter I can remember. A client and a listener of the Further North podcast came in and gave Big Ant basically a funeral, a card you'd give at a funeral to him, and it was absolutely fantastic. We did try and look at there's a couple of cryptic links written in there. And we tried to look up those, but it unfortunately led to nothing. So maybe the hub account went down or something throughout the week. But maybe you can just direct link the DMs straight to Big Ant. That'd be good. How do you feel about the big the big fan base here, Big Ant? We've got a big listenership on the Further North podcast, and you're the most loved and hated continuous guest. How do you feel about being synonymous with that?
I hate it. I hate it so much. I love and respect you guys. Like,
we're not so different after all, Big Ed.
I definitely couldn't do it. But I swear to God, North Melbourne supporters are multiplying in the shop.
There was a few weeks ago where there was more North supporters than other fans in the shop, and it was glorious.
So there was 4 of us working?
Yeah, but there was a family with a couple of kids.
Yeah. And five people out of the 7 in the shop were North supporters.
Fantastic. Yeah. The Black and Brown Barbershop is the barbershop for North Melbourne fans. That's synonymous with the east side of the city now, unfortunately. North's taking over the east as well. We're massive, Big Ant. It's out of control.
Oh, God. Okay, you know what? It's better than the Richmond and Collingwood supporters that always come in.
There you go. And we all know you're deep down a little closet North fan. You had Simo, one of our players who won a premiership with us, then gave you a premiership as well. We're all connected here. Drew Petrie, West Coast legend. There's a lot between the two clubs.
Don't drag Petrie down with North.
Until I said that comment, I'd put it out of my heart that he went to West Coast. Him and Sam Mitchell did wonders. The club was never the same after.
Jesus Christ. Oh.
All right. We've got a massive game coming up again. We've got a huge game down at the Mecca Blundstone Arena.
Yes.
How are you feeling about this game? Don't give us tips or anything yet. We're going to do that at the end. But tell us how you're feeling about the game, and then we're going to react to the teams because we have not looked at the team lineups yet. So let me know how you're feeling going into it, and then we'll look at some teams.
Look, and again, this is something we disagree on. It's a bugger of a flight from Perth to Hobart.
We don't disagree completely on it. I'm not saying that the travel doesn't matter, but I think there's as much of an advantage to gain from having a home ground so far away per game than there is having to travel a lot. So I think it sort of balances it out a lot. I understand maybe when finals come around, but Fremantle's done nothing, but West Coast have won plenty of flags over here.
Look, and I don't disagree with that, and I do think that is the advantage. But, and I know I'm about to contradict myself, but when every second week we have to travel, it does. So, and look, having said that, the recent derby that we had was an away game for us. So we've actually spent 3 weeks in Perth, whereas you guys have been a bit back and forth lately. So
yes, that is true. 45 minutes on the plane down to Tassie, not too shabby. I'm not too upset about that. I mean, this is one of these ones where, both teams are so even. I mean, in my opinion, you can let me know what you think of this. I think North's probably been in better form since the bye. I think we've probably had more games that we would put a tick next to than the Eagles. I don't think that's unfair to say.
No.
But, people talk about this like, it's in Tassie, so North will win. I don't even remember the last time we won down there. It was the Gold Coast game at the end of last year. But other than that, I feel like we haven't won there for so long. This was a fortress when Sean Higgins played for us, but people still think it's 2015. We don't win down there anymore, and it's an over with some sticks at the end again. I just don't. It's a pretty even game. I'm going in with I think we should win, but it's not comfortable. And if we lost, I wouldn't be shocked.
Look, you guys should win, and the hunger, but more importantly, the full 4 quarters of footy is there with you guys. I don't think we've been playing that whole game like the way North has. When we do, you know what? Everyone can shit on me for this. When we do, we look like a top 8 team. We do.
Ooh.
I'm not saying top 4.
Yeah, that would be a stretch.
But
Comments down below, guys. Respond to Big Ant's claim that if they played 4 quarters, they'd be a top 8 team.
No. When we look like one.
Yeah.
And you know what? Say what you will about the now infamous photo post-game when we've only won 4 games this season. I love seeing the boys up and about. I love it.
Yes.
It's better than those little stupid name the AFL player from their number videos I'm getting from North.
You're just jealous of their footy knowledge extent down at Arden Street, mate. We're an intellectual bunch down there. They've had plenty of time not playing finals to do their extra studies in the last few years. So we do a lot of footy grid.
Actually, that last one was impressive. I'll give them that.
All right, let's react to some teams. Let's
pull it up.
We both don't know. All right, should we count down and look?
Yep.
All right, are you ready?
3, 2, 1.
Okay, interesting. All right. Okay, there's a little surprise for us here. Liam Shields is in and Miller Bergman, one of my favourites that I didn't know if I'd see again. Out Dylan Stevens with his ankle injury, and Jaden Stevenson is apparently injured. Injured his shoulders from carrying the team in the second half last week, apparently. But interesting. I wasn't expecting Jaden Stevenson out. Read out your changes, Big Ant. How are you feeling?
I'm actually not disappointed with this.
Okay.
We got Gaff back in, which I hope we see him play the rest of the season. Get those games up before he
retires.
He's sitting on the interchange, but he'll still see plenty of minutes. Harry Edwards out with the injury. That's no surprise, but it's actually a pretty unchanged team.
Yeah, there's not many changes. I was thinking there'd be a little bit more carnage this week. There's a few players for us under a bit of an injury cloud. Charlie Comben was one last week that was very sore. He hurt his groin and is carrying a slight injury, but last week looked incredibly sore. I can't believe Toby Pink is still getting a game and there's no Callan Dawson. That's fraudulent, if you ask me.
Let's be 100% real here. Comben is carrying that whole back line for you guys.
Absolutely, but it's he also went forward for a short period, for a couple, 2 or 3 weeks. So I thought there must be something going on in that back line where Clarkson did suggest that he was going to play forward for most of the rest of the year, and he got 2 games. They've moved him back. I understand it's because Griffin Logue went down with his wrist injury, but I feel like Callan Dawson played a lot better season than Toby Pink. So I'm really not sure why Toby Pink is in the team. But hey, here he is. Other than that,
maybe it's the mustaches. I
guess, and I feel bad for the redheaded boys. Not as much sun down in Tassie, but the ozone is thinner down in Tassie, so you can burn easier.
Yeah, everyone burnt their CFC up on the mainland, and now Tassie's paying for it.
Burnt memberships up here and burnt redheads down there.
I don't know, man. Like, the mustache on Aiden Core's photo is actually pretty rad.
Yeah, it is. It's rad in a very seedy way.
No. Toby Pink's a seedy. That's disgusting.
If that photo was on a working with children's check, he's getting denied.
I mean, Zerha, though, that's a mustache you could set your time to.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a full-on I invented something mustache.
I mean, what? We have... Actually, Coles is pretty good.
Is this podcast dissolved into comparing mustaches?
Yeah. Pull up Tom Cole's profile.
Who is it? Tom
Cole, defender.
Tom Cole. This must be fantastic podcasting. Tom Cole, here we go. Oh God. Why is his mustache so close to his hairline? There's not much room in between. His mustache is like halfway up his face.
So he was the one that was flipping the camera off in that photo.
Ah, interesting.
If you go back and look, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, interesting with some of these. Robert Hansen Jr., like a young one that maybe didn't play very well. I'm surprised Pink and Hanson Jr. are still in the team. And bringing back Shields, not too bad, but I think it's probably his last year. Hasn't announced it yet. Glad Dersma's still in. Miller Bergman's a very interesting one, but I guess with no Zach Fisher coming in, maybe he plays off half back. I don't know. I don't mind going in with not many changes, but I am very surprised Toby Pink is still playing because that would probably be the main one for me that I would swap out for Dawson. I think that's insane that hasn't happened. But other than that, I mean, a winning team last week. I guess we don't need to change too much.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see Petricelli moved up from the emergency. Like, I still feel that he's the one with the speed of movement that our midfield needs.
Yeah.
I'm excited about LDU and Yo lining up on each other. That's always, and especially with how Yo played last week. You know, Darling looked like he was out to break someone in half. You know, Marek stepping up to, you know, run back, get back there. Jimby almost overtaking McGovern for intercept marks as well. Like,
oh, did he? Because he's been sort of playing wing half back, hasn't he, Jimby? Because he hasn't really been cracking into the midfield as much as he used to.
Nah, yeah, he's been playing, sort of that more halfback kind of role. And last week he was spectacular with it. So,
yeah, okay.
You know, maybe it just took a little bit of, fiddling around and.
I'm interested to see, like, your forward line with Waterman, Allen, and Darling in there is quite tall. Core, Comben, I guess Pink, but. You know, Richmond last week didn't really have any key targets that looked too threatening. Kaczynski was okay, but, didn't threaten a breakout game. You know, I think one of these guys could have a game because I think we're a little bit light in defense with height anyway. And that's why I'm surprised that Dawson's not in. I'm not really sure who might play that third tall role because if Pink plays in the forward line most of the time for us, he gets named in the back line every week but plays in the forward line. So I'm going to assume they're going to stick with that and Core and Comben will be down there. But, you know, do you put an Archer on a Darling or does that where Bergman's coming in for? Bergman's got a little bit of height about him.
Looking at the American Archer lineup, there's nearly 10 centimeters between them.
Yeah, I mean, Archer's like mid 180s. You're very tall. Yeah, you got a very tall forward line. So I'm interested if Core, Comben, and Pink all play in the back line with Bergman, Archer, you know, with maybe a McKercher off half back. Yeah, I think in the air you guys might be dangerous. It might be difficult down in Hobart with the wind swell that you get around Blunston there, but you know it's still something we've got to look out for. The next question we're going to lead into is. What's an area for North in this game that you think we could take advantage of you in? Because if I'm going to say mine, that would be sort of that height you've got down in your forward line with our back line being a little bit undermanned with no Dawson and no Griffin Logue down there. What's an area that you think North might be able to get on top of the Eagles?
As I said, you know, for the last game, and you guys definitely took advantage of it, is the midfield. You know, what, LDU's 25?
24, I think.
Yep. Yo's 30.
Yeah.
You know, and someone like LDU, he takes no prisoners. Like, I respect
his game last week was phenomenal.
Yeah. So, look, Yo, and I said this leading up to the last game as well, Yo will play like a team possessed. We played like a team possessed last week. Hopefully we could just carry it over.
Yeah, that is true. What do you think you did well in that last game to get the win? What strengths do you think the Eagles have that you might be able to get us with?
Physicality.
Yeah.
Like it.
Jinby's a massive player. Like Yo, we know is huge. Yeah. Harley, obviously.
It's almost like we threw the retro jersey on and played like it was the 90s again. Like, did you go back and watch that last quarter?
I watched like against the Suns.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched most of it at home. Yeah.
We were out for blood. Like,
yeah,
they were just trying to run through them. All right, as someone that's nearly 10 years your senior.
Yes. Wouldn't know it though by the good looks.
But that's the footy I grew up on. And I'm not going to lie, man. You know, that winning goal was kicked and I was full mass. Like, that was dirty in the ground, in the mud footy.
I was watching a greasy Suv last week at Marvel and you were watching it at home.
What? Oh, yeah. I watched part of it at work because you abandoned us early to go to watch your team.
Sorry, mate. I don't get many wins and I sniffed a win for this one. What did you think of the helmet game? We're darting around a little bit here. It's not the most cohesive podcast, but it never is when Big Ant's on.
No.
What did you think? Did you see much from the helmet game?
Look, there was a couple of times that came up on the TV and I just had to shake my head at it. But look, looking at the socials, looking at all the photos that came up, you know, I have to give credit where credit is due. Congratulations, man. I'm actually very proud of you organizing that.
We had a very, very good turnout. Definitely more. When we got there was a lot of people there. We gave out some helmets. North contributed printing out some cardboard helmets to give out to the bays, and Steeden sent us 23 ones, which you saw rock up last week. So I've got a nice photo of Big Ant in a helmet, which I may or may not be using on the thumbnail. So so everyone may or may not be able to see that when this podcast comes out. Okay.
Oh God, I knew that was going to come back and bite me.
Yeah, you shouldn't have done that, mate.
Nah.
You're too much of a pushover when it comes to peer pressure.
I'm just trying to support my boy,
and I appreciate. I'm using it for content, mate. You know, I'm getting it out there because I'm not putting it out there because it's funny. I'm putting it out there because it's a great photo. All right, so let's talk about the margin and who's going to win. Okay, how are you feeling going down Hobart? Cold West Coast. They don't like the cold. Do you think you can get us? So give me the tip with your head and your heart.
All right. So if Facebook is anything to go by, it has been raining nonstop for the past month in Perth.
Okay. Interesting.
According to it. Yeah. Apparently it's been a very wet winter over there. So I'm hopeful that having 3 weeks at home, we haven't had to travel. We've been able to kind of relax a little bit. We can, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Are you leaning to tipping a North Melbourne victory, Big Ant? Is that what I'm sensing right now? It's a safe space. No one's going to listen to this. It's not going to go to the internet for everyone to listen to.
I've seen the comments towards me. Like,
the more Big Ant banter in the comments, the better. And I tell him every single comment too. If you want to throw a slur at Big Ant, and respectfully, of course, send one because I'll let him know.
You know how hard it is not to jump into the comments so people don't find my personal Facebook?
Make a burner account. Go full Kevin Durant.
Look,
mate,
all
go
I know,
send it.
It's going to be less than a goal, whoever wins.
I don't want to go through another one of those, Big Ant. I'm praying for a North by 3-4 goals. I don't think it'll happen either. If you want my tip, so this gives you confidence to send me a proper one, I'm going to go North by 3 goals. That's how I feel. But that is an absolute biggest win scenario that we'll be in. It wouldn't surprise me if it goes down to the wire again. I mean, the last 3 minutes of the Richmond game was the most relaxed I've been in a football stadium for probably 7 years, and it was only for 3 minutes. So, if anything, I guess West Coast North games are anything to go by, last 3 occasions, they come down to under a goal. So, my heart's going to tip North by 3 goals. My head tips North by 2 points.
All right. Actually, you know what? How many games where have your last 3 games been? Marvel, we played Geelong we actually went down to Hobart 2 weeks ago and played Geelong.
Yeah, that's right. And then it was Carlton before that at Marvel. So Marvel and Hobart.
All right. No, okay. You know what? We're going to get right into this. So,
wow.
Of course, I don't have weather on that.
You want to look at the weather for Hobart on the weekend?
Yeah.
I'll get it up now. You keep talking, I'll get it up. You keep doing your tip.
So, especially if the way the weather and I know it's Perth, they complain about a lot of things for nothing.
Yes.
But if the weather's, mate, if the weather has been as bad as what it is, that's just preparation for what the Bay is going to throw at Bloodston.
16 and sunny. Partly cloudy, but sun.
Oh, yeah, that's too cold for them.
That's too. They're going to seize up. Everyone's wearing long sleeves.
Look, you know what? Put them back in the retro jersey. Play the old song. We'll get it done.
How many points?
4.
Oh, 4 points. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. It's going to be a spicy affair.
And just remember, guys, no matter what happens, I still love you all afterwards.
That is true. Yeah, pander to them now, Big Ant, because he's trying to stop the haters from coming to him. That's what he's doing.
Hey, look, I not attended further North events and,
Yes, you're in Bay 29 as well.
Yep. And how many people have actually told me to fuck off?
Well, you can be quite physically intimidating, Big Ant. So mentally, I'd say a shitload. But actually, in reality, not many.
Doesn't matter because Marnie loves me anyway.
That is true. Marnie can't resist the Big Ant.
Don't say it like that.
No. Hey, well, I was sending a voice message to Marnie about something to do with the podcast, and you were very polite over the voice message to Marnie. So you're building a fantastic bond.
I love Marnie. She's a wonderful woman. Yes. I'm just disappointed that I never get to be on the podcast with her.
So you want to do a podcast with Marnie, and I'm not there at all?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh God, that's terrifying. Is it going to go up on the Further North page? All right. Next preview, I'll try and convince Marnie to do the preview just with you. I'll still sit in the Zoom chat, but I'll mute and be out of there because I need to export it to be able to edit everything because Marnie can't do that. So
all right.
I need to have some sort of control.
Bro, come on. Let's be real. Look at what we've just spoken about. There's no control when I'm on the podcast.
No, that is true. It does get rogue and it gets violent, verbally violent, which is good. Do you want to rev up the North fans for a bit, Big Ant? Do you want to send a message to rev everyone up and get them hating you a little bit more?
I cannot wait for Liam Ryan.
Oh, finally gets out of Jack Snarch's pocket.
Who is 14 centimetres shorter than Aiden Cole.
Some say he's still in his pocket. I don't know.
Screamer.
Not sure you can fit Liam Ryan and Bailey Fritz in the same pocket, to be fair.
Screamer. He is taking Mark of the Year.
Bobby Hill already took the Mark of the Year on his head as well.
All right, fine. We'll shift it. Liam Ryan's going to... Actually, no, I can't say that. I actually do like him. He's a sweet guy. I was going to say Common, but...
Oh, no. He can't climb up that high. Common's 2 meters tall. Maybe Aiden Core is like... 192 or something.
He's just going to use Waterman as a ladder to get up Comben's back.
So he jumps on Waterman to then jump off to jump on to Comben. like a double hanger. Oh.
Yeah.
So he jumps on Waterman, takes a grab, spills it, jumps up to combo, and then grabs it again. But he lands on his feet, so the mark doesn't look as good.
Super Mario double jump.
Oh, yes, fantastic.
It's just Jake Waterman on his hands and knees behind Combin, and he just launches like when you had to jump over a fence when you were younger. And
Wirapunda storms the pitch.
You have no idea how much money I'd pay for that.
Or you wheel out Wirapunda in the Liam Ryan jersey and just let him go nuts and just see if he can take a hanger. Okay. I loved watching Ashley Sampi as well. That was another one.
Yeah.
Loved a hanger.
Who else?
Did you see Dersma's last week?
Yeah, I did.
What do you reckon? It's pretty good.
It was pretty good. And I'm not going to lie, I had the same reaction as what I had to the West Coast game last week as well. Where's that been all season?
I don't disagree. I think Dersma's been, I'd say, underwhelming season for sure. I don't think that's unfair to say. But I think there's no lack of confidence that he'll turn into a great player just from the highlights alone. You're just like, he can do it. But playing in the forward line, especially at North Melbourne, is a tough task. And I'd say he's a 190 centimetre 18-year-old. You know, I think we need to give him a little bit more. It's hard. It's a hard bar when Shizu and Wardlaw come in the year before and they go, look, we're great from day one. Then you have Cole McKercher drafted alongside Dersma, who's already great from day one. And you're like, I've got to follow that. I think, you know, Dersma's got some time in the tank to become good. I'm not worried about him at all.
Yeah, I'll pay that. And look, this is the thing. All our guys have been baptized by fire. I think we both forget, like we've still got a few older guys, but we forget how many young guys are trying to make their way, just trying to make their way on our teams.
Yeah, absolutely. I like North's the youngest team by a mile in the league, and I think Liam Shields and Hugh Greenwood keep that thing anywhere close to the second, you know, sort of youngest team. You know, West Coast at least have, you know, like sort of veterans, as a lack of a better word. They're veterans because they're great premiership players, but they're still contributing. And I think that's the difference. Like Brad Scott really made sure we missed out on a whole generation of talent for us because we've got sort of 26 and under, and that's okay. But our you know, 27 to 32-year-olds are non-existent really in this team. I'm talking like proper, like premiership player or a player who's been an All-Australian or something. Aiden Core has done a lot better this year. We know my previous thoughts on Aiden Core. And look, I'm still a bit scared sometimes with him, but he's played very well. You know, we've got a Darcy Tucker, but these aren't like star players. We don't have those guys to be like, I've done it before. Get on my back, boys. I'll take you there.
You know, for us, it's your Liam Ryans, your Jack Darlings, your Elliot Yos, your Liam Duggans, you know, McGovern, Cripps, like
Barras, Gaff.
Actually, yeah, Barras.
There's a lot there.
There's a lot there.
Yeah, there's still a lot of really good players for the Eagles. I think people sort of, you know, underestimate how many. Like I just don't think the Eagles are as young as people feel like they are. You know what I mean? Like that's a lot. It's a long list of. Even then, we named like 7 or 8 players that, you know, were premiership players or at least have been arguably in contention for all Australians.
And they all fit in that, as you said, that 25, 26, 27 through to 30. I think Darling's 31.
Players
32.
in their prime, you know, like actually in their prime. Not like he's 24 and he's a gun, like properly like 27, 28. Even 30 these days isn't like old anymore, you know? So, all right. We've got 3 minutes left on the chat here. Before we sign off, what do you think of your coach and who's going to coach West Coast next?
I'm not disappointed.
Is he just a caretaker? Will he get the job?
Yeah, I think he's just a caretaker. I'm disappointed by, you know, the one and only, you know, the only big cocks that I recognise in the AFL, you know, turning it down last month. But
sorry, is my fly undone? Sorry, mate.
it's something that I don't think we should be focusing on now.
Yeah.
Ride the season out. We're not playing finals. We've got a bit of time before we have to worry about it.
That is true. Yeah, get through to the end of the year and then figure it out then. But I don't know, man. We got Reece Shaw and then David Noble after we got rid of a coach that gave us a little bit of success. So David Noble's on the market. If you are searching for a coach, I think he might be in contention.
All right. And on that note, it's good to talk to you, man.
That is fair. I would also do the same. There's no funnier comment this AFL season than we asked at the live show, what's one rule you'd want to bring into the AFL? And Rashaan said every team who plays against North has to have David Noble as their coach for one quarter. That is the best rule I've ever heard in my entire life. Even Charlie Coleman giggled a little bit, but we won't say that.
That's perfect.
All right. Anyway, we got to sign off. Thank you, Big Ant, for coming back. You're going to be here for most West Coast previews from now on, a staple of the Further North podcast, known as the guy from the North Melbourne pod. Send a message to the Roos fans, mate, and we'll sign off.
All right, guys. From all my favourite sons of the North, I hope that is an honourable loss for you on the weekend.
That's very respectful, Big Ant. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Big Anthony, for coming on again. He's a staple of the Further North podcast now. Everyone loves him. Everyone hates him. We love to hate him. He's always around and he's at the barbershop. So if you ever want to come and see us, Black and Brown Barbershop, book me, Big Ant. We'll have a good time. It'll be fun. Okay, a couple more things to talk about and then we will go. I sort of brought this up a little bit in the clip we posted, but Paul Curtis has signed until 2028. That is absolutely fantastic. The job Alistair Clarkson is doing is out of control, and people are not appreciating this anywhere near enough. I've talked about this before, so I won't go on, but people are pretty happy to criticise him. But when he's doing great things like this, no one seems to want to praise him. The way he's turned this culture around has been phenomenal. To have the amount of re-signings that we've had in the last 12 to 18 months, it's ridiculous. So Paul Curtis is here, was already signed, but he's re-signed already when it wasn't even contract time, which is such a massive thing. Every young guy is buying in, and this is why, an LDU or anyone else who is out of contract, a Bailey Scott, I just can't see them going. Nothing is a done deal in football. Wardlaw as well might talk about contracts in the next year or so. All these young guys signing on, there's just no way that the club isn't ecstatic about this. And I think every young player on that team is on board. And if they're not, then they're going to miss out on something pretty sweet. But I'm so stoked that Paul Curtis has signed. He's been great this year. Maybe it's tailed off a little bit second half of the year. I think the consistency is the thing for him. But once again, we've got players that have shown they can play at an incredibly high level, which is something that we've been missing for a long time. So there's still plenty of years in the tank for this team to build up what they're trying to do. So let's not stress too much. But fantastic news that Paul Curtis is here. In some negative news, Griff and Logue can't catch a break. Apparently going to be out for 4 months with a wrist reconstruction. I didn't know that was a thing that happened in a game. I wasn't aware that happened in a game. It sucks for Griff. I mean, he came back, played 2 really good games, 3 really good games, 2 or 3 games. And just 4 months with a wrist reconstruction. That is devastating stuff. Gutted for him. And it's interesting. I mean, we did team selection with Big Ant there before, but, I can't believe a Callan Dawson's not getting a look in. I would love someone to ask him the question as to why and what Toby Pink has done to be able to stay in this side. I don't like harping on about Toby Pink. I just don't think he does anything as a forward. I wouldn't mind putting him as a defender this week, to be honest. We did talk about the Eagles having a very tall forward line. So I think we need 3 talls down there to cover them all. But we'll see. Great Miller Bergman is back as well. Really excited to see what he can do. I think he was good when he played those couple of games for us. Was it 1 game and he got injured or 2? Can't remember. It was pre-bye. I've completely took that out the back and hit it over the head with a 2x4. But excited to see him back in. It's going to be really, really, really good. Other than that, there's not too much news
floating around. Clarkson in his press conference sort of hinted towards Wardlaw will play. They're not going to put him on ice for the rest of the season, which don't know if I fully agree with, but he said that we're going for it in every single game. Now, will that be what's replicated on the field? Is he just saying that because that's the right thing to say? Perhaps, but this is a winnable game, and I really wish we had Wardlaw there. He's missing out on all the wins, Wardlaw, but this is absolutely a winnable game for us. I think that Richmond win has solidified that we won't get laughed at if we lose to West Coast. But I think we should be favourites, and I think we should win this game. It's a big game. For me, I've heard a lot of people sort of start to talk about like hanging it up or sort of making sure we get through to the preseason unscathed is more important than playing a Comben who's under an injury cloud and whatnot. I disagree with that. I think we need to win this game. I think mentally 4 wins or more wins, than last year, even if it is still a small amount, is very important to us. So I would still be going for it. Realistically, we're probably not beating the Dogs the week after. And the Hawks down in Tassie, the last round of the season is always so rogue with team selection. And if the Hawks need to win that to get into the finals, I think it's going to be tough. So this is a winnable game, and I'd say probably the last actual winnable game or something that we could be near favourites, if not favourites in. So we need to go for this one and need to get that win. Other than that, we might not do barbershop this week. I want to try and keep this a little bit shorter. That'll return next time. But other than that, we'll do some tips for this week. I was very proud of my tips last week, tipping Essendon when everyone tipped Freo, tipping Collingwood when everyone tipped Carlton. This footy mind, guys, this mind is built different. So now you can take these tips to the bank. Sydney Collingwood. Sydney bounce back. I believe in the Swans. This might be naive. Obviously, I tipped them last week, but no one even had a clue that was going to happen to them last week. They need to bounce back. This is the game for me where I'll turn on the Swans. My belief will faint if they do lose. So it's in the SCG. Sydney, Collingwood, big game. Collingwood coming off a win. Sydney coming off getting absolutely slaughtered. Sydney to win for me, but if they don't, I'm off the Swans. This is the last week I'll believe in the Swans still, and if they lose, get in the bin. Brisbane GWS at the Gabba. I think you've just got to tip Brisbane. They're the most informed team in the comp. Arguably, or not arguably, they can potentially be top of the ladder after this game. If they win and Sydney lose, they're top of the ladder. They're 2 points behind Sydney and 1% behind them, which is crazy when they started off 0-4. North West Coast, already tipped it. West Coast getting smashed. Fremantle Geelong, very interesting. I'm gonna tip the Cats in this one. I just don't believe in the Dockers, and it might be Melbourne bias. They've dropped to 6th. It doesn't look as impressive as 3rd. Cats are above them too. I think it's crunch time, and the Cats have been there and done it. So that's why I'm going to tip them. But this could go either way. It should be a very good game. But Geelong is a tougher opponent than Essendon, but also it is over in their home stadium. So I'm going to tip Geelong, but once again, not super confident. But I think Geelong's been there and done that at crunch time. Essendon, Gold Coast. Wow. If the Bombers lose this game, oh my word. I'm tipping the Bombers in this one. Gold Coast away from home. If you tip the Gold Coast away from home, I did this against West Coast, but that was merely my heart saying I want to go above West Coast this week. You can't tip the Gold Coast anywhere but up in that muggy stadium of theirs. So Essendon at Marvel, have to do it. Have to. Melbourne Port. I hate Port, so I want to tip Melbourne, but I'm probably going to tip Port in this one. Would absolutely love Port to drop down outside of the top 8 where they belong. But unfortunately, my head has to tip over my heart. Port Adelaide beat the D's. The D's look lackluster. Carlton Hawthorn. Hawthorn win this game. The Blues are the most overrated team in the league. And I made a statement many times in the last few weeks saying Carlton is no better than Essendon, and I'm sticking by that because it's true. 8th and 9th on the table, 2 points difference. Come on. The only difference between them is one had a premiership aspiration and the other just wanted to make the finals. So, yeah, who's underperforming now? Jeez, that's harsh. Richmond, St Kilda. I got to back the Saints, but my gut's telling me Richmond can get this one. No Dusty, though, but that we learned last week doesn't matter at all. My gut wants to say Richmond, and I don't know why, but the Saints need to win. I don't want to be risking Spoon anymore. So give me the Saints, but that's my heart tipping. It's a danger game for the Saints. They are a mediocre team. And Adelaide Western Bulldogs, you got to tip the doggies once again. In just the form they've been in is fantastic. It is in Adelaide though, and the Crows nearly got the Cats last week. But give me the doggies. I just got to go off form. They're my tips for the week. So if you're in a work footy tipping competition, lock them in. They're never going to fail. Other than that, guys, that's about it. Thank you for liking, subscribing, following, all that sort of stuff. The social media engagement's been fantastic. Instagram is where we're most active. I try and be more active on Facebook. Try to on Twitter and that sort of stuff, but it's difficult. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. We're so close to 1,000 subscribers. That would be fantastic by the end of the season. So please subscribe. It helps me out a lot. Leave a review. We haven't got many reviews recently because I don't really pump them up. We've got plenty over the time. We've got a lot of 5-star reviews, but no comments. That's what I'm saying. Thank you for the 5-star reviews, but leave a comment so I can read it. We've got plenty of 5-star reviews. Sorry, I mucked up that. Anyway, I'm rambling now. It's actually very late. I had an awful morning this morning. I locked myself out of my apartment and had to pay $450 for some bloke to come and open my door, which is ridiculous for 10, 15 minutes of work. Basically stuck a little toothbrush in my door, clicked it and said, chuck us $450, mate. And off he went. So anyway, I'm going to go and eat and rest and edit. Go North. We'll see you probably on Sunday afternoon or Monday morning, depending on when me and Money can record. You guys are the best fans ever. Thank you to everyone who's coming to the barbershop this week as well. Everyone who is listening. Geez, we're almost at the end of the season, guys. It's a home stretch. There's a part of me that is excited for the season to end, and there's another part of me that goes, geez, I wish we played a whole season as well as we're playing right now. Anyway, ifs and buts. So I'll see you guys in a few days in the weekend. See ya. Bye.